Hello, I'm Rick Stivers of the YoungMartin'sReels, and today we're going to be working on this Airex Vagabond Model 1. And if you've got one of these, hopefully yours is more complete than this one. This one doesn't have a complete bail on it, but it does have a bail modification that someone has done where they've taken part of a bail and attached it permanently here, or bolted it on, so it's not necessarily permanent. It could be changed out if I can find a bail for this. But it's designed to be used as a bailless reel now. And I'm going to be trying to fish with this. I've never tried a bailless spinning reel before, and this is I'm going to be trying this as an attempt. But for now, we're going to go ahead and we're going to tear this down and rebuild it, get it cleaned up, get it serviceable. It seems to work pretty good. It's a little stiff in the crank. Does it have anti-reverse? It does, and the anti-reverse does work. We're going to turn that off, but the override right now, so that hopefully everything will stay together inside. This side of plate over here is going to come off, and let's get started on this. Oh, by the way, in case you don't know, the Airex was a division of the Lionel Corporation. They don't call it Lionel Train. It was Lionel Corporation. And they same people who made the Lionel trains. Since I'm a long-time user, let's call it, of Lionel trains, then I'm rather fond of them. So let's go ahead and get started on this Vagabond and see what we can do with it. We're going to start off by taking off the spool. Or at least that's our plan. There we go. Spool comes off. Okay, it's got a clicker. Clicker seems to be functional. It's got this fuzz. Remember, if you ever look at one of these, don't ever think this is dirt or anything. This is a like a pipe cleaner that's attached here, and its intent is to keep dirt from getting down, and dirt and water from getting down inside the reel. And let's see here. That appears to be a plastic piece right there. As a matter of fact, I know it is because it squeezes in. All right. Now I'm probably going to get really dirty with this reel. And let's see what I see. All right, let's go ahead and loose the handle. It should turn clockwise to come off. The opposite of the way you normally would wind it. There we go. That's got the handle removed. Let's see if this is free. It is. It turns okay. We're going to go ahead and lubricate that while we're here and give it a chance to be soaking. This is a very similar handle to what's on the Mitchell 300 reels. So it seems to work pretty good. Drop of oil down inside the handle. Sorry, I didn't show you that. Let's try it again on film. We're gonna put a few drops of oil down in the handle shaft there. All right. Now, let's take out the side plate. Now, I've noticed here in the last couple of days that my screwdriver, my favorite screwdriver that I've used for 100 reels, is becoming worn. So I am going to take an opportunity here and go, if you look very carefully, let me wipe it off so you can see. If you look very carefully at the tip, okay, it's become worn. Let's see if we can focus on it. Okay, it's kind of become worn, and it's a little rounded on the tip, which means it's not staying down in the groove of the screw very well. I'm gonna straighten that out. I'll be taking that down and running it on my Sharp Smart, something like that, whatever that thing is I've got. And I'm going to re-square that up. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, I'm back. I don't know if you can see, but I think that's going to work a lot better now. Let's see how it fits my screw. Oh, yeah. Nice snug fit on the screw. Back to work. Let's get the case off, or side plate off. There we go. Ew. Wow, that's some pretty gross looking grease. Okay, let's see what we have. going on here. All right, this pin is normally held stationary by this groove right here in the side plate. Well, I don't know how well you can see that. There we go. There's a groove right here in the side plate, and let's wipe it out with a Q-tip. Maybe you can see it better. There. All right, that groove right there is what this pin is supposed to ride in. Wow, this is some of the grossest grease I've ever seen. We're going to pull the pin. There we go. Lay it over to the side. And at that point, we should be able to remove the axle. And we cannot because there's a burr, I think, on this right here. All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to clean just a little bit. We're not going to try to do a full-blown cleaning, but we want to clean just a little bit right here where that pin goes through. Now, I could just probably force that through, but if I did that, I might be taking a chance on tearing up the inside bushing under the rotor, and we don't want to do that. So we're going to clean this up a little bit right there. That's our problem right there. And I'm going to take this file and clean that up a little bit right there. Turn around to the other side, do the same thing. All those years of that pin slamming back and forth had left a burr. And now the axle shaft pulls right out. Okay, what is it that holds this in? What's holding this? All right, there we go. This one was a little tricky to figure out. If you look down inside here, you don't see a nut on this side, and you don't see any kind of horseshoe clip on this side, so I was beginning to ponder just exactly what we had to deal with. But if you look down inside and rotate this head, the head comes up on 2 screws. Can you see them? There you go. There's one here and one over here. Got to remove those 2 screws to take this out. And 2, and out comes the rotor. Okay. With that done, we want that screw to come out the rest of the way so we can clean all this. There we go. Okay, and if you look, this one here there should be a locking washer on each of these. So far, I only see one of them. There's the other one. All right, 2 locking washers. That's got that. With the rotor out, we can now take the main gear out. We're just going to let it fall out of this front. Like so. Flip this over and take a look. All right, there's our spring for our anti-reverse. And it wraps around this post right here. Then it comes over and it hooks under right there. So that's so that you know how to put it back together. This is its anti-reverse operational. And in this position, the back, it's in override. It lifts that pointer up off of this cog in the back. So that gives us a completely dismantled reel at this point. And I'm going to go off camera here for a few minutes, clean this thing up, get rid of all this nasty, nasty grease. And when I come back, we'll put it back together. Just for a second, I decided I'd kick this back on during a little bit of the cleaning process. Let you get an idea just how nasty this reel was inside. I don't know what this stuff is. It's not any kind of typical grease that I've seen before. It's very difficult to clean off and very difficult to work with. Okay, I'm back and the parts are cleaned up, and I've taken a little bit of time to look at this thing and how it goes back together. And I've got a 50-50 shot at getting this right. So we're going to try it and see if I get it right the first time and see how it goes. I think I've got it figured out. All right, we're going to start off by reinstalling the main gear assembly. We're going to put a little bit of grease on the back side of this. Now, a lot of people don't lubricate this anti-reverse, but I had one yesterday. It was a Fluger. If you go back and watch my video on the Fluger Free Speed 1000, you'll see where some damage was done to the anti-reverse due to not having lubricated it. And I've had another one that failed completely because the anti-reverse gears completely disintegrated or completely chewed up due to lack of lubrication. So I find it important to go ahead and lube those. Also, we're going to go ahead and put a few drops of oil here on the anti-reverse itself. And it's not going to hurt to put a drop inside the bushings on each side here. We've greased this, oiled this, and we're going to slide it in now. Like so. And when it goes all the way in, it should activate. If we go this way with it, and it should deactivate. Now it'll turn both directions, reactivate it, and it will. There we go. So we're going to keep it deactivated in the override position for right now, and we're going to reinstall this rotor assembly. Now this is a little bit more difficult to do due to the fact that these have to be screwed on. Now, one thing I've noticed about this, you can't take this off, and it really could use a good greasing down in between here because there's dirt in this, and I've got no way of getting this off. Now, possibly I could press it off, but I don't want to get that radical about it. So what I'm going to do is put a little oil down inside and see if I can't rotate it a little bit and get it to where it moves a little freer. Yeah, see, it really is a little bit bound up there. There it goes. Now, there we go. Much better. Still wants to be a little sticky. Okay, but this whole rotor is going to turn on that piece. Let's come back up here to the top side. We've put oil at the bottom seam of that. Let's go back here. See, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a seam right here where this screw down is installed. And we'll spin that around a few times with some oil from the top as well. And see if it doesn't spin a little bit freer. You can see there's still dirt coming out of this. So the more lubricant we can get in there and get this broke free, the better off we're going to be. I'm going to pause here a minute while I work on this because I don't want to put it together with it sticking, and that's what it's doing. All right, I was able to spray this down with some more WD-40 down in there and work it back and forth. Then I dipped it in some acetone, and I think I've got it to break loose enough. You can see the dirt that came out, and I now have it spinning freely. So let's go ahead and re-oil it one more time, top and bottom, and go ahead, spin it around a few times. Yeah, that's spinning much more freely. I wish I could take it out and grease it. I really think that's one of those spots that should be greased, but I don't see any way it's coming out. So let's leave that alone. All right, we've got it to that point. Now we're going to line up these screws. And remember, these had lock washers, each one. And we're going to put these screws on. And I'm going to put a little bit of grease on the end of my freshly sharpened screwdriver. And let's see if we can get the screws to go in where we want them to. And it's easier if you get these holes lined up before you try putting the screw in. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing there. It's kind of hard to see down inside that hole. Okay, got the screw going through. Now we're going to bring it over and line it up to the body. Set it back in place and see if we can get that screw to go in. Okay, make sure the screws are snug, but don't over tighten them. You don't want to break them off in the holes, like so. Okay, now originally there would have been a trip lever inside here, but somebody has removed the trip lever for the bail. It's no longer there. It would have come out probably this side over here, and it's no longer there, so there's nothing for me to show you about that, except that something went there. Probably the lever for it went attached here and here. There was probably a plate in there. All that is missing out of this reel. So, like I said, it's an incomplete reel. All right, now it spins freely. And this is down to the tricky part that I wasn't exactly sure about. And let me show you how this looks like it works. Okay, we're going to install the axle shaft. Remember, I had to file it down just slightly here. We're going to oil this axle shaft, slide it in, and do a little spinning action as we put it in so that it can. All right, bring it down. It should go into the back here. Now, when you get down here, I believe this should go this way. We're going to find out. I've got a 50-50 shot at doing this. Let's try putting the pin in first, like so, and see if it will rotate. Yes, it rotates, which means there's enough clearance for it. And that's what I wasn't sure about. I believe there's enough clearance. Let's find out. Let's go ahead and put the handle on. And let's see whether or not we have the clearance needed. We're going to have to hold it upright, like so. It feels like it's too tight. It is, it's too tight, so it doesn't go that way. We had a 50-50 shot. So here's the way it goes. We're going to take that back out. And what we're going to do is install this pin. See the pin with the hole in it? And then we're going to bring that pin around until it is directly over or directly under the shaft, like so. Then we're going to insert the pin down through it, and it has to go into that pin, like so. Now, that should stay in place when we put the side cover on. Remember that the side cover is going to hold all of that in place, providing I've done it correctly. And we're not going to grease any of this up till we make sure we have it right. All right, put the side cover on, hold it in place, and let's try it. There we go. And it got a little bit of gear rumble because there's no grease on them yet. All right, so that works. We've got it right. Let's pull this back out. Let's go ahead and grease up the gears. Now we need to grease the channel that pin is going to ride in, like so. We've got to grease the pinion gear. Like so, all right. One last place to grease, and that's going to be this channel right here in this side plate. that greased, we can put the cover back on. And put our 2 side plate screws back on. There we go. It's no longer sticking like it was before. Anti-reverse works. Anti-reverse override works. The bail is set the way it is. And we're going to clean up the spool now and test out the drag, clean the drag. If you thought the drag in the Pfluger Free Speed was simple, wait till you check this one out. It consists of the spool sitting here and this nut tighten it down. So we're going to put a little drag washer grease on this spool seat here. Keep a little on the clicker itself. We're going to add oil on the clicker. It's going to pop back on, and if you look, this is just a plastic clip, and so you need to be careful going on and off. And what happens is when this knob tightens down, it spreads out the plastic clip inside here, inside the spool, to create your drag. Okay, there we go. Let's put the spool back, the knob back on. That's too tight. Nice steady drag. Spool operates. We're not going to wind that around that shaft and get it all bound up. But yeah, working just fine. Okay, I'm going to be changing out the line on this, and at that point, I want to take it fishing and see how it does. The Airex Vagabond Model 1. So, there you go. Oh, also, I want to try to clean this tag off. That's going to take a little bit of effort. It looks like it's going to be a little bit of effort. It has softened up. When I first started, it was very stiff, and I dunked it in some acetone, and that definitely softened the glue in it a little bit. There we go, gone. All right, if you like what you saw here today, please hit the like button. If you didn't like it, that's okay, hit the dislike button. So far, I haven't had that happen much, and but if you do, you don't have to hit the dislike button, but please, by all means, if you didn't like something, let me know about it, and because I can't fix it if you don't let me know. Chris let me know that the reel that I did yesterday, he wasn't overly interested, but he still liked watching the video, so that's fine. I just want your input, folks. If you'd like to see more videos like this in the future and you're not currently subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. And apparently there's a notification bell that if you hit the bell, it will notify you that these are available. And for now, that's Rick Stivers with Young Martin's Reels, signing out.